Hello, welcome back to another Bosch and Roll video. Today we're playing Vintage. Eternal Weekend is coming up. Legacy Eternal Weekend was last weekend. Vintage Eternal Weekend is coming up quick. And I'm getting my testing in for that. The decks that I take seriously in Vintage are Paradoxical Outcome and Xerox. And in front of us is Rug Xerox. Xerox is It's named after a copy machine. Xerox is a brand of copy machines, and it's named such because you have basically every playable legal cantrip, and you just try to make every game look exactly the same by drawing millions of cards and executing the same plan every time. So that's what Xerox is named after. I think Paradoxical Outcome is the most powerful deck in Vintage, but I think that Xerox is well positioned to beat Paradoxical Outcome while still having game against everything else. Your flavor of Xerox can vary. Jeskai is very popular. Bug is popular. There's a 4-color version that's basically Bug with Red Blast in the sideboard. I'm on straight Rug right now. Um, this this one basically gets Wrenn and 6. It's the best one at being a Wrenn and 6 deck. You still get your Red Blast. You get Dreadhorde Arcanist. You don't get Lavinia that the white decks get. You still get Collector Roof in the sideboard. You don't get Assassin's Trophy or Deathrite Shaman that the bug version gets, so they all have their appeals, but I'm playing Rug today. I think this one is like the smoothest mix of what I want to be doing. I like the Wrenn and 6 package a lot. Wrenn and 6 is the only reason this appeals to me over Jeskai. Oko also is a card that Rug gets that Jeskai doesn't, but I still think I would put Wrenn and 6 over Oko as cards I care about. The deck has a Mana Denial Plan, Strip Mine, and Wasteland. Pair that with Wrenn and 6, you can squeeze people out of the game. You got your counter spells, Flusterstorm, Mental Misstep, Force, Mindbreak Trap in the main, Red Blast. Basically, just stop what your opponent's doing and then kill them. Most vintage decks are not super consistent, or if they are consistent, they don't rebuild well if you stop them. So the idea is just stop whatever your opponent's doing, and then stick a Tarmogoyf or a Planeswalker and end the game with that. Nibble Obstructionist is specifically for Doomsday. That is a very real deck in Vintage. It's hard to beat, but an uncounterable Stifle effect, stifling their Thassa's Oracle trigger, is a pretty big trump in that matchup, and I'm trying this specifically for that matchup. Sideboard is pretty straightforward. We got Energy Flux and Shattering Spree. Moto is automatically enlarging every card I mouse over, so sorry if it gets weird. I'll try to fix that when I pause the recording. But so I have Energy Flux and Shattering Spree for artifact decks like Shops. Leyline of the Void, obviously for graveyard decks. Collector Oof also for graveyard decks. Tabernacle is great against the graveyard decks as well, because most of them don't actually play any mana. They just cheat creatures into play. And then Red Blast number 4 and 5 for the combo in Blue Mirrors. A super straightforward sideboard. This zooming is out of control. And that's it. If you're familiar with Legacy, even modern decks play like this, like the blue like snow piles in Modern. I guess they're not really snowy anymore, but like the blue control piles in Modern and the blue control piles in Legacy, they look a lot like this. While this might look on the surface like it is analogous to Rug Delver, it's a lot closer to Snowco out of Legacy. This is not a tempo deck. This is not an aggro deck. This is not aggro control. This is straight up grind you into the dust and win when you're out of resources control. So we're going to get into some games here. We are actually joining a league in progress. I started the league last night. I didn't think I was going to have time to record at all, but I found a window that I could record. But I am 2 matches into this league already, so you're going to see me play 3 matches in this video instead of the usual 5. Sorry about that, but it's better than nothing. So let's get into the remaining matches. All right, we're on the play for round number 3, which is the first round we're seeing. So far in this league, I lost to Shops, Golos Shops, and then I beat Dredgevine, or Hogak Vine. I'm going to keep this hand. This is unexciting as far as vintage hands go, but that's what you sign up for when you play Xerox. This, other than like a Mox maybe, so I could preordain and hold up Pyroblast, like it's really not getting much more exciting than this. Like there's Black Lotus, three of the Moxen, the three on color Moxen, Ancestral Recall, and Time Walk are the power cards in the deck. Otherwise, this is pretty close to Legacy legal. We have Ren and Six and Strip Mine that are cards that are not allowed to be played in Legacy. So hands are going to look pretty fair. Right now, I can preordain, or I could just hold up Red Blast. If they're shops, I'm going to wish I preordained. If they are any combo or blue deck, I'm going to wish I left up Pyroblast. So I'm going to play like they're a blue deck. Though I have not played against very many blue decks lately. It's a lot of shops. Ooh, Prismatic Vista, Ornithopter. My god, what are you doing? I'm scared. I'm in danger. Alright. I don't know what deck plays Prismatic Vista and two Ornithopters, but we are playing against it right now. Oh, I should have bolted one of these Ornithopters end step, probably. Getting misstepped. I think that's a fine exchange. I'm not going to spew my Pyroblast on that. Like, if this is some sort of PO deck or a Tinker deck, like, I'm just trying to imagine what they might be doing with these Ornithopters that I care about. Alright. Now I am going to bolt one of them. They put him in the deck for a reason. Let's get rid of him. I don't know. I'm suspicious. Alright. Show me your secrets. That was a good draw. This informs if I want to hold up Pyroblast or if it's time to jam Narset. Changeling. Oh, they're a ninja deck. Okay, and they just missed their second land drop, or else this Ingenious Infiltrator would be in play. Tight. Okay. That's pretty cool. I understand why they kept the hand. So, in kind of a tough spot here. I guess, maybe I'm not in a tough spot at all. Like, I could jam this Narset, and they would force it, and then if they draw a land, they get to Ninja, but then I can just Red Blast. I could also Brainstorm to try to set up the Narset next turn with Pyroblast backup. If I was going to do that, I shouldn't have made my land drop, but I'm not going to play bad because, like, I should have just held that land until I was ready to play it. But I'm not going to compound my mistakes by embarrassingly trying to hide it. So Dak Faden is gas here. That can steal the Ornithopter. But I think Narset is better. So, yeah. And Wasteland, the Mox means I don't really need the Wasteland at all. Like, Prismatic Vista is what they have here. Though they are hurting on mana, so I'm actually going to put back Dak and Wasteland. I'll play my Mox. Then I'm going to pass. So next turn I can Narset with Pyroblast backup. And, alright, I put the Wasteland where I could find it because I figured it was likely they would... if they came up with a land, it was likely to be non-basic. So they're going to Ninja this out. I am... Yeah, I guess I just Pyroblast it. Just make them force me. See if that is what they want to force. Like, they don't really have a backup plan here. They could also misdirect this and save 1 life. They chose not to do that. But okay. Like if they misdirect my Pyroblast just to like onto my land or something, then they get to save 1 life. But I guess they're not worried about that. Okay, there's Ornithopter. Wasteland is gonna jack up their shit. And let's hope that they did not. I guess like like Gush would be a great draw here. All right, so Changeling Outcast is in their hand. So I know that I have Dak Faden on top of the deck that I kind of do want. I could just leave Narset on 5. Though if I find a Lightning Bolt or Pyroblast right now, I can pretty much shut this game down. Though, all right, I'm just going to pass. I'm going to leave Narset on 5 because I'm going to draw the Dak next turn, and then I can Narset down to 1, and then I have like all the things that I want. And, ooh. I don't like that Ornithopter attack. It is like weirdly smart though, because now it's tapped, so if I steal it with Dak, it can't block the Infiltrator. So I don't know if that was style points or actually like planned, but it was pretty awesome either way. Ancestral Recall is a pretty good Magic card. I'm going to start with that one. Another Wasteland. Mystic Sanctuary puts Ancestral Recall back on top of my deck. I like the sound of that. Yes, please do that. I'm going to play the Dak. I'm going to Dak to plus myself. I'll discard Wasteland and the backup Dak up. Then I'll have another feast of cards here. So this line lets Narset die, and that's fine. She did her job. She stopped them from drawing 2 extra cards and absorbed 4 damage. Pretty happy with that exchange, and that breathing room let me draw 6 extra cards. So let's do it. I would like to. I guess I'll just steal this. Like my hand is pretty solid. I don't need to do a whole lot of fixing things up with Dak. I'm gonna Merchant Scroll for, I think, Force of Will. And then this Force plus Misstep should be able to carry the day once I dump all these creatures into play. Dreadhorde Arcanist is going to be the 3rd Ancestral Recall. Force pitching Infiltrator. Do I care about that? No, that's not the fight I care about. That's why you lead with your less important threat. Arcanist can block Infiltrator and Crackback. The Arcanist can kill Infiltrator with Bolt or Pyroblast. It can also just Ancestral Recall again. I've been sitting on this for a while. Let's crack it off. I don't want an unblockable threat. This is any ninja deals damage, you draw a card, so let's not give them a ninja. So I'm going to Ancestral first, and then probably Dak myself. Once I have all these extra cards floating around. Oh, baby. That's fine. Ren and 6. So Renin 6 picks up another land from the graveyard that's just discard fodder for Dak. So Dak is pretty close to just plus draw 2 cards right now. Yeah, we're driving at this point. Even found the lightning bolt. I'm not sure if we're going to need this lightning bolt, but I do have it. Yeah, this Ornithopter isn't doing anything, so I'll just use it to bait extra turns to make decisions. I think this game is about over. They have 2 cards in hand. I have multiple Planeswalkers chunking, plus Dreadhorde Arcanist. Force of Will, huh? Yeah, I don't even care about that. Force pitching Yuriko, and then I can just attack and Dreadhorde Arcanist to kill their Infiltrator. I'm going to cast Obstructionist just to get my clock moving faster. I am going to Pyroblast the Ninja, not Bolt it, because Bolt can make my clock faster on future turns. The third Force of Will or Mindbreak Trap. I think I'm all set up on counter spells at this point. Gosh. So Gush also fills your hand up with discardable cards. Yeah, now we're just going all the way off here. Food token 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, all right. I could have drawn a million more cards this turn. I wasn't going to. I was just going to pass with the triple counter spell up because they were dead next turn anyway. Okay, so they're ninjas. Pyroblast and Lightning Bolt seem like good cards against them. They did have Ornithopters as enablers, but I don't think Shattering Spree is what I want to be doing. Mindbreak Trap isn't great here. Nimble Obstructionist is a little goofy, but Ninjutsu is an activated ability, so I could counter a Ninjutsu activation. It could also just jump in and block a ninja. Those both sound like pretty decent. Force of Will, I think. Like these 2-for-1 counters don't seem that important when I'm bringing in 3 1-for-1 answers. Against a deck that probably can't go super broken against me. Plus Ninjutsu is not a spell. It's an activated ability, like I said, with the Obstructionist. So unless I'm ready to force Ornithopter, then Force of Will is not really going to stop any ninjas. And I'm not ready to force Ornithopter, in case that wasn't clear. All right, I like this. Let's get it. This hand is a little slow for what I want to be doing. This hand is a, a little awkward, but I mean, it has 2 Pyroblasts. Everything their deck does that I care about is blue. So I'm just going to keep this hand. Since we're both playing Legacy, I'm going to keep this hand. This is not a great hand when you're in Vintage. Like in Vintage, mulliganing to things that are really good is important. I'm not going to counter this. Yeah. All right. I'm going to counter what they get with it. Let's see if they have the backup. because I do. They're gonna go on my upkeep, I guess. I'm not sure if I agree with that play, but it's their play to make. Let's see if they have like soft permission. Like what this play does, okay, so they did have the misdirection for Pyroblast. If this was Red Elemental Blast, this wouldn't work. So I'm getting kind of punished because I didn't run out my Lotus. Like I didn't run it out because I didn't want them to know what I was capable of. But ended up getting punished because I couldn't double Reb. I'm not sure if I would have anyway. I don't know. It's close. I traded Pyroblast for Misdirection and Infiltrator. And they used Mystical Tutor to get it, so that Ancestral Recall basically just replaced itself. I was about to say, I am going to need some spells pretty soon, though. Everybody has a Black Lotus now. So they're holding up Force of Will. That is 5 mana. I'm not sure how best to sequence this. I think I want to use my Lotus to cast this. Hold up my red. Like they could force my Oko. I will Pyroblast that. If their hand is exactly Force of Will Yuriko, we could be in trouble. Okay, it wasn't Force of Will. So if their hand is exactly Yuriko, then I can blast it once it comes into play. I guess the Force of Will Yuriko hand is still pretty good though. Like next turn, they could just use it to protect Yuriko instead of fight over Oko. If this is Dig Through Time, oh, it's that. Yeah, I don't care about that. Oko can be in my hand. I just don't want to die to a Yuriko. I can kill that whenever I need to, no problem there. Here she comes. All right, well, let's hope that they didn't draw a counterspell. All right, cool. The Brazen Borrower ninjutsu is pretty nice. Like that is a sick ability. Brazen Borrower in hand kind of sucks for me because that means they can bounce my elk food or food elk, depending on how you want to talk about it. And it's just gone because it's a token. Ooh, hell yeah. That's what we're looking for. Pachow. Okay, so now the board is clear. We're at a high life total. Our opponent is holding Brazen Borrower and 1 unknown. And we are drawing powerful magic cards. Plus, I can Mystic Sanctuary this back. I should plus Ren now in case they decide to just randomly bounce it before I get an activation. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this game from here. Lightning Bolt, one of the best cards. I'm going to fetch Mystic Sanctuary, put Ancestral on top. Yes. I could cast Narset or Oko here. I'm going to do Oko. Like, Narset could get the Ancestral right away, but I'm drawing that anyway. I could just wait a turn and chill my shit. I'm going to Elk the food. I know they can bounce it and just answer it for basically free, but this at least makes them bounce that instead of making the tempo play of bouncing one of my Planeswalkers. Though I'm not sure I care about any of it. Oh, they just put it right into play. I'm going to zap it. They skipped the whole bouncing, which means they probably have a ninja they want to enable. And I would rather just make it dead. All right, pretty easy. Pick that apart. I really like the rug Xerox position against other creature decks. So those were pretty. That was pretty lopsided. Next one coming. All right, we're on the play for round 4. No red mana in this hand, unfortunately, or else it would be an absolute banger. I can't keep this hand as it is. It just doesn't cast any spells. This one is basically perfect. I'm gonna ship a, or think Obstructionist is the right answer. As much fun as it is to have that card in your hand. I'm gonna send it to the Shadow Realm. I don't know what I'm playing against yet, but I mean, Force of Will Tarmogoyf is pretty good against a lot of decks. Getting like Wastelanded here would be kind of lame. That's not a Wasteland. We're over the first hurdle. All right. I will basically never Force of Will turn 2 Time Walk like that. That's just the Explore. Draw a card, put a land into play. It is an important thing. I'm not going to say that that doesn't matter, but it's not worth 2 cards. All right, the Goof is loose. Tarmogoyf is pretty good at dominating creature matchups in Vintage. It's the biggest thing. Let's see if they have a Swords to Plowshares. Okay, they did. That's also not. I'm not going to force that either. Protecting my Goyf and having like a 3/4 in play is not worth a 2-for-1 either. Snapcaster Mage targeting Time Walk. I can live with that. I wonder if this is the Omnath deck. They certainly have all the colors to cast Omnath. Young Peasy. Alright, this one I'm willing to fight over. And I think I pitch Narset here and not Preordain because I'm only playing on 2 lands. Like, I want to force the Young Pyromancer rather than try to untap and bolt it, because then if they fight over the force, they got tokens for each one. Hey. Alright, let's see if I can beta fight over this Preordain. Nope. Alright. I want to stubbornly hold on to this Ancestral Recall until I have a little bit more protection for it. I guess I could still just go for it. Like, I can bolt the Snapcaster to get the pressure off me. I can jam the Oko. Yikes. All right. That's a pretty good card. I will Ancestral in response to this. Because I definitely don't want them going off with this Mentor in play. Okay, so I'm holding Oko and Bolt. Those are two answers to Mentor. Let's see how this goes. I'll just Bolt it. If they let Ancestral resolve, I suspect they are running low on options here. Let's start here. All right, they're bolting me back. That might just be to get a monk. They might have another spell to get Mentor out of range. All right, they didn't. That's super lucky. So they have one card in hand. I'm pretty sure I want to Gush and Oko here. Like, Strip Mine is not... Look how much mana they have. That's not the game we're playing. So Oko... Yeah, let's just get Oko into play. Make a food. The food can become an elk. Ren and 6 can pick off either of these threats next turn. So we're kind of playing for a mid game here. We just have to hope they don't like draw like Treasure Cruise into Ancestral into Preordain, combo kill me with the monk. They're getting Lightning Bolt. Okay, so that kills Oko, but they also spewed their Sanctuary, killing Oko instead of doing things I really care about. Oh no, do you have a Ren in 6 too? Oh, they're destroying my food token. Yeah, whatever. Deal. I'm not sure why they did that. The monk, I guess it deals me 1 damage, because Snapcaster can attack face instead of Oko that way. Fair enough. It's a little aggressive for my blood, but you're the expert. All right, so I'm going to brainstorm away some of this extra shit. That was a really great brainstorm. Put back this Valk. And I actually think I don't want Lotus. Or no, I do, because then I can Tarmogoyf and Ren. So if I make green, there's not a fetch land in my graveyard. So green, green, green makes Goyf and Valk. Oh, and I have the Ruby. Yeah, so I am actually going to put the fetch land on top. And I'll end up just drawing that next turn. So I have Strip Mine, Ruby, Lotus, green, 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 red, Ren and 6, Tarmogoyf, kill your monk, kill your Tundra, pass the turn with Flusterstorm up. Alright, yeah, that was a pretty good turn. And Brainstorm's a hell of a card. Yeah, I don't care about that anymore. I have Ren and 6, which basically translates to infinite mana. And I'm going to move straight in on stripping them out of this game. I guess it's kind of a close call, but this Flusterstorm just gets better and better if they don't have any lands. I'll take them off. Oh, they have the Mox Ruby, so I should go for the green. Taking them off red doesn't do anything. Oh, this is a 6/7. On the small version, it looks like it's a 2/3, but then you zoom in, it's 6/7. I was like, how is it a 2/3? There's so many cards. It's not. It's huge. So if I attack, I think, yeah, I just attack for sure. Like, they can't even kill Ren. They can put Ren to 1, but Ren is on picking up lands duty anyway, not on minus duty. Yeah, I am ahead. I'm just going to get this game over. Opponent agrees. All right, we came back on that one. They had a pretty good start, but Tarmogoyf is a large lad. So Red Blast, Lightning Bolt, just like last round, this is another creature matchup. So it's a blue-based creature matchup. So Red Blast and Lightning Bolts are coming in. Mind Break Trap is out. Force of Will, less good. They did have Monastery Mentor, which I think I might want more answers to, because Rug is not good at answering Monastery Mentor. I don't have Swords to Plowshares. There's no Wrath. It's just Lightning Bolt or counter at Lightning Bolt or you're dead. So I'm gonna do this. Trying to think if there is strong reason. I'm gonna bring in the Red Elemental Blast instead of the 4th Pyroblast. I don't play Young Pyromancer or Mentor or anything with prowess, so I don't care about being able to cast the spell for no reason, like on any target. And they can't misdirect this. They can misdirect this to a random thing. There actually needs to be a blue spell on the stack for them to misdirect this. So let's do it. Well, this hand is bonkers. I get to Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall with Flusterstorm backup. Plus Merchant Scroll can get something. Merchant Scroll usually gets Ancestral Recall, but I did that already, so I actually have decisions to make. I'm gonna have to check what spells are in my deck. All right, so good question. What instants are left in the deck? Brainstorm, the various counter spells, and Gush. And Gush, Dig, Brainstorm, and counter spells are the blue instants left in the deck. So I'll play this. That's for Red Blast. See if they aggressively spell pierce me here. They did. I think that's a really good play. Because the Black Lotus is probably going to jump above the spell pierce anyway. Let's get after it. Daze. Get wrecked. All right. So they have Daze in their deck. Good to know. Not every vintage deck plays Daze. If they do, it's probably like a 1 or 2 of. It's not super great in this format because everyone has fast mana, but it is pretty good in this matchup particularly. So I think I want to run out this Mystic Sanctuary and just pass the turn. Like, I'm not going to get my Ancestral dazed or spell pierced. I'm going to wait a turn and cast it with Flusterstorm backup. Or hold up Flusterstorm this turn for whatever they're up to. Is it mentor time? It's Narset time. I can bolt Narset. I'm just going to do it now in case they find a counterspell. The push and pull on when to bolt there is you can let them resolve Narset, and then they can make their decision under the illusion that they have a Narset. But if they just pick a counterspell, then you don't have Narset. Then they might still have Narset. So my double bolt helps with that. Like I was pretty safe from that Narset regardless. Ooh, gosh. That was a pretty good find. That's going to reset this Mystic Sanctuary eventually. They tapped out a Pyroblast, so Ancestral gets to be Ancestral. It's not a good turn to Gush, though. Like, I still need some lands to turn on this thing. Alright, we know all about Tarmogoyf being great. I'm going to top both. I'm going to draw the Force this turn and the Tarmogoyf next turn. My biggest worry right now is Monastery Mentor. Oh. Now they know what they're up against. My hand's pretty good. I hope that scared them. And I do have a land drop if I want it through Gush. They do not know about this Tarmogoyf. So can I get my hand empty? If I Gush, I have 7 cards in hand now. If I Gush, I'll go up to 10. And then 9, 8, and we might have a fight of some kind. I think it's better to float red so I can Pyroblast. Yeah, I'm gonna start on Gush. Maybe they just Red Blast it. If they do, I'm not even super upset about that. They should be suspicious, because I know about this Red Blast and I just jammed Gush onto the stack. Okay, so Storm is 2. I can fluster this Pyroblast. They'd have to pay 3. That sounds pretty good. I kind of wanted to save that fluster for a Swords to Plowshares on my Tarmogoyf, but Gush is worth more cards, and cards will eventually win the game. All right, do I get to Gush? Cool. All right, get my land drop. Mox Emerald also. So I can play both of these Tarmogoyfs, and then I can Force of Will a Plow. That's a pretty big clock. They're 5/6s. Wow, they didn't even have the Plow, or they didn't try to play it. They can have one of them. I don't want to run this 2-for-1 into an obvious counterspell. Wish I had red up for that. All right, yeah, I'm much happier countering Treasure Cruise than Swords to Plowshares. Goyf got slightly smaller because they exiled their graveyard. Unfortunately, I do not have 3 islands, so I'm just going to hold this Mystic Sanctuary. Drew Mental Misstep right away after the Swords to Plowshares turn. Though it'll be good against the next one. Fragmentize. I'm not going to fight over that. I'm not going to fight over that either. I just don't care about that. All right, passing the turn again. This is where Vintage is a lot different than Legacy because there's not a lot of answers to just a big idiot. It is likely that this Tarmogoyf goes coast to coast. Just drew the third island for Mystic Sanctuary. That's going to get back Ancestral Recall. And they know about all my cards except for this Mental Misstep, I think. Pretty sure that is the case. If I draw something that draws a card, I can Ancestral immediately. All right, not quite. Ancestral Recall. I'm not going to play this Mox. They've showed me a ton of artifact destruction, and I'm not just going to like hang that out there on a turn where it could turn on a dead card. And I'm holding Lightning Bolt, and they know that. And I'm attacking for 4, and they're at 6. So it is very much on them to do something here. I'm just going to make my attack and see what they do. And I can respond how I need to based on that. Okay, so they just went to 2. Another red source would be pretty cool if I could protect my bolt with Pyroblast. I could also just fight over this Ancestral, get their hand empty, and bolt them, and then they lose. Force of Negation. This feels kind of silly, but like if their last card is Flusterstorm, all right, I just win. Like I could have just let this stack resolve and then just bolt them, but if their last card is exactly like Flusterstorm, then I'm gonna wish I did this because like I have the win on board and I have the win in hand. Why would I expose myself to like if their hand is exactly Flusterstorm Swords to Plowshares, then they might still be in the game. But if I make the play like this, get their hand empty fighting over Ancestral, then I definitely win. So we had that one covered in a lot of directions. GG's. On to the final round. And for round 5, we're on the play. Again, Mox Emerald instead of Mox Ruby means we don't get a turn 1 Ren and 6. This hand is not keepable. This hand is pretty capable. This is a combo, by the way. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to bottom Mystic Sanctuary. That's not a card I want right away. So generally, you want to Ancestral Recall on your opponent's upkeep on turn 1 in a fair deck like this because you might have to go to discard. But luckily for me, I'm mulliganed and I'm on the play, so I can just fire it off. And if it resolves, my hand is 7 cards. So let's hope we're not against a combo deck. They let that resolve pretty quick, so they could be something like Shops or one of the Bazaar decks. If they're a Bazaar deck, they kept 7, so we could be in trouble. Alright, they're a Schwasty deck. Could still be a Bazaar deck, or Shops. They all do this. Alright, it's probably not a Bazaar deck with Mox Pearl in it. It could still be Shops. If so, we might end up with a scrappy little wasteland fight, but if I'm ever going to draw 7 lands in a game of Vintage, I want it to be against Shops. Yeah, this is Shops. For show. Let's see if I can pin them under their own sphere. Like, unless I draw, I don't know what I would need to draw to not wasteland here. Like, they only played the one Mox. They played a Sphere. This is kind of a dangerous game, because if they draw Workshop, they can jump way out ahead of the Sphere. Alright, that's kind of embarrassing for them. I'm not going to waste that. I will save this for a better land. And in the meantime, I will get myself set up with these banger creatures. Tarmogoyf, already a 2/3. I'm going to lead on Dreadhorde Arcanist, because if I play Arcanist next turn, then the following turn I can Ancestral out of my graveyard plus Tarmogoyf with 4 mana. Alright, well, they're going to waste me, so I can't actually do that. Phyrexian Revoker. Alright, let's see if they're going to name Dak Faden, I bet. That's what I would name in this spot. But I'm not a shops expert either. Like, Dak Faden or Black Lotus are the two reasonable names here. Let's see what they go with. Oko, alright. That's also reasonable, though I think it's less good than the other things. So I could just get this Tarmogoyf into play. That is the beef father. Like, now that they have Wasteland, I'm not going to be able to like crack off the way I wanted to with the Arcanist into Tarmogoyf. What am I even saying? I want to get the Ancestral Recall happening, so let's do that. I put my Wasteland out there because I want to protect my colored sources. I am pretty close to out of fetchable lands. There's one tropical island left in this deck. Oh, let's see if they have Golos. Right on time, every time. Lodestone Golem. Alright, that's not Golos. It might be worse. It probably is worse. Alright, they wasted my waste. Hanging that out there did prove to be maybe the right call. Like, removing that workshop would be nice, but it's not where we live right now. I could cash in Dreadhorde Arcanist to just draw 3 cards, but I don't think that's actually good. Because they just block with Lodestone Golem, I lose my Arcanist. I do have Lightning Bolts and Shattering Sprees in the deck, so I want to give myself a chance to draw them. And this Force of Will was a huge deal, because now if they just like jam Golos or some garbage, I'm ready. I can pitch this Oko that already doesn't have text. And if they attack with Lodestone Golem, then I get to Ancestral Recall without losing my creature. What I don't want to happen is Wastelander Strip Mine, but I can still play through it. That's not like GG. It would just like be kind of lame. This is 6 mana. Looks like a Golos. That cost 2 mana plus the card. All right, you're out of here. Yeah, the fact that they wasted my Wasteland made me pretty confident they had another big payoff in hand. Shattering Spray would be pretty dope. Oh, Strip Mine is also pretty dope. Yeah, let's get them back under their own sphere. And I am still exposed to Wasteland or Strip Mine here, but they don't have really reasonable attacks. Like, I would not trade 5 damage for 3 cards in Vintage. And my opponent concurs. I think I need this Tarmogoyf in play. That's more important than constricting their mana any further at this point. I'm gonna fetch the last tropical island. Oh, I could actually get Mystic Sanctuary here. I forgot about that one. Yeah, let's just do that. Rebuy that Ancestral. That shrinks Tarmogoyf because that was the only instant in the graveyards. Oh no, the Force of Will's there. No, we're good. Everything remains the same. Yeah, they putting shops under their own sphere is pretty much my favorite thing that can be done in Vintage. It's not going off turn 1 with paradoxical outcome with, Flusterstorm backup. It's putting shops under their own spheres. Let's see if it's good enough. Oh yeah, a 2/2 Stonecoil Serpent. DGAF about that. So I am gonna Ancestral. I'm chasing that Lightning Bolt. Mox Ruby, not bad. Mox Ruby only costs 1 because Lodestone is non-artifact spells. And I think I want to just waste this Caracas. Like, they're hurting for mana a lot more than I am right now. Still a 4/5. Can't force a double block yet, so Tarmogoyf is going to remain on D. We're approaching the point where I'll probably just draw 3 off Dreadhorde Arcanist, even if it means losing it immediately in combat. Because finding the Lightning Bolt... Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. They're still under their sphere on Golos. They don't have 6 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've used all 4 of my land destruction effects. Come on, Ren and 6. Right off the top. Alright, so I could spend 3 mana brainstorming. I guess I kind of have to, because this is the only fetchable land, and these are all fetch lands, so I better actually get that shit back into my deck. Oh no, I do have the 1 trop left. Not totally dead zoes there. I want to leave up as much red mana as I can, because Shattering Spree is live. Dak Faden. Alright, I'll put the fetchable lands back in the deck. I should be able to just go off with Dak next turn, just steal their Lodestone Golem or their Golos that they cast next turn, and then they can never do anything. Yeah, it's time for this. See you later, little buddy. You worked hard. Kind of awkward to draw the Black Lotus off of that, because that Lotus can cast this bolt, but whatever. Still a 4/5. Still no plays from my opponent. Dak Faden is going to steal Lodestone Golem, and then that should end this game. Yoink. They cannot block a 4/5 effectively. There is one Volcanic Island left in this deck. Is there a sorcery in the graveyard yet? There is not. So I can Time Walk. That makes Tarmogoyf a little bigger and puts a ton of damage on them. Time walking before combat gives them a little bit of information that they know they have to survive 2 combat steps, not just 1. So they might just chump here when they would have taken it otherwise. They don't know about this lightning bolt yet, though. I get to discard Mental Misstep and this completely dead fetch land. Not a bad deal. If they double block Lodestone Golem, I get to blow them out with Lightning Bolt. If they take 10, they just lose. All right. Classic outgrinding shops. Lock them under their own sphere, my favorite thing to do. And now we get Energy Flux, which just kills most shop decks when it resolves. Lightning Bolt, Shattering Spree, all coming in. Probably want Collector Roofs. We'll see. Some shop decks run Null Rods of their own. Like if I'm going to rely on my artifact mana, it might be worse for me than it is for them. Let's cut the completely dead cards. So Pyroblast, Mental Misstep, and Flusterstorm all come straight out. Gitaxian Probe is also not great. It's better in a Xerox deck than it is in a combo deck because it does just draw a card, keep things going, and you have to plan for longer games. Mindbreak Trap it looks like it would be an obvious cut, but it's like kind of fine on the draw against shops sometimes because they go like Mox, Mana Crypt, Karn or whatever, and you trap the Karn. Plus, this game's going to go long, and just another hard counter once I'm stable is valuable. It's just, is that better than Collector Oof? And the answer is probably not. Though, like I said, we did, other than like the Mox they played, there were no activated abilities. Like this isn't like Ravager shops or like they don't have tons of activated abilities. It's mostly just mana. We saw like a bunch of X creatures and Lodestone Golem and Spheres, and Oof is just a speed bump against them. So I'm gonna bring in these. I'm gonna do 1 Oof, split the difference, and I'm gonna keep the Mindbreak Trap in on the draw. I'll take this out for Oof on the play. I do just think that Oof is worse for me than it is for them. Assuming like an average draw from both of us. Shattering Spree, though, is among the best cards. So is Dak Faden. So let's just hope I don't get buried by spheres before I get to cast all my sweet cards. Is this Trinisphere? Yep. That's basically the number 1 card I was worried about, but I do have 2 lands in hand. They're both fetch lands, so that helps insulate from Wasteland. Once I get up to this, the 3rd land, the way Shattering Spree works is that Replicate counts as the cost of the spell. So I can replicate twice to destroy 3 artifacts, and that counts as paying 3 for Trinisphere. So once I get to my 3rd land, I should be able to like destroy their whole board. Assuming I get a 3rd land, and it's red. And if it's not red, I'll just destroy 2 things. But as long as I find a land in my next 2 draw steps, we should be okay in this game. The lowly 0/1 Tarmogoyf, still waiting for food. Trinisphere is like the card that punishes the no Force of Will hands out of Xerox. Like, look at this hand that I kept. Like, it's rock solid. Even against a sphere, I can like jump out under the sphere with the Mox, and then like Chalice on 0 isn't a huge deal. Ah, shit, that's actually a nightmare. Okay, I will make them decide if they want to hit one of my lands or if they want to plan for this DAC, but this is basically functional strip mine. Like, they're just going to name Flooded Strand. But, I mean, it slows me down a turn, but this is a turn that they also didn't do something. Yeah, Flooded Strand. That's fine. Like, I couldn't fetch there because I'm still holding the polluted delta, and then my original land is hanging out there to get chewed up by a wasteland. So I think it is better to just let that resolve. Obviously, like if that's my only fetch land and I'm just holding like Tropical Island instead of polluted delta, then I would fetch and make them have the wasteland at least. All right, so that could name Mox or DAC. Not that either one really matters here. My best draw is a fetch land. Like if I can set up having triple red the turn after, then I'm good. I will play this volcanic island if I don't draw another land. Like obviously I have to continue with my game plan, but I would prefer not to expose it to a waste. Bummer. All right, dead to wasteland. Go. Yeah, these are the kinds of like miserable shops games where like this Phyrexian Revoker could pretty easily do 20 damage. And Trinisphere is not a joke. Stonecoil Serpent. So you're saying there's a chance. If I draw a fetch land or volcanic island right now, we're in business. Some bitch. Instead, I failed to draw a spell, or I failed to draw a land. Got plenty of spells. Yeah, now the clock is considerably faster. Every draw step, they have a lot of strip mine wasteland effects. Obviously, they didn't have one last turn, or they would have cracked it right off. So we need to fade wasteland, and we need to draw a land of our own. Non-Mystic Sanctuary land, please. It doesn't even have to be red. Like, that's not actually important. It would be better if it's red, but I will take any mana producing land at this point. Sphere, that sucks. So now it doesn't matter if it's red at all. Oh shit. My deck doesn't have any basic lands, so this Ghost Quarter is also just strip mine. Oh, and we know they drew this for turn because they just didn't make a land drop last turn. So Ghost Quarter off the top. Definitely gonna seal this deal. Womp womp. And I guess I'll keep playing. Like they didn't Ghost Quarter me. Maybe they think I have a basic. I don't know. Though, yeah, I mean, if they don't use this Ghost Quarter, if they activate this Ghost Quarter, I will concede. If not, I will take one more draw step. The sphere doubling up on the Trinisphere is brutal because that means a land doesn't cast Energy Flux. Alright, yeah, I'm dead. They found the line. Okay, now we get to be on the play. So cut that, bring in this. I don't think I want Tabernacle against them. And maybe I do. Nah, I'm off it. I think Tabernacle has utility in this matchup. Turn 1, Energy Flux. Don't mind if I do. I don't think they can beat that. So I can turn 1 Energy Flux, use Ruby and Volk to pay for Emerald, and then turn 2 Collector Oof, and then just let all my shit die. And then I don't think they can win. So they won't be able to make mana, and they won't be able to keep anything in play. And I don't care if I turn off my Moxen, because Energy Flux is going to eat them anyway. Yep, I just have to hope they can't beat an Energy Flux, and I don't think they can. I wish my hand was set up in a way that could save the Energy Flux for turn 2, but if I cast the Oof first, then I'm already... then I can't cast the Energy Flux. This is payback for that turn 1 Trinisphere last game. And they could like wasteland me and then I lose all my permanents. But even that is just a holding pattern that eventually favors me. I would certainly prefer they don't wasteland me. Just like give me one turn. Oh shit, there it is. Yeah, I was gonna say give me one turn to get this oof into play, but they did not. Might as well keep that around. It's the same as not keeping it around. And now the game gets weird. Like basically all they can do is like strip and ghost quarter me. Eventually I'll just stick any threat and win. Having force backup is comforting. Like, not that I think it matters. I'd like to start drawing fetch lands. Just 2 fetch lands off the top. Black Lotus also acceptable. Just get the Zoof into play. Any way to clock them will end the game at this point. If they get infinite time, like if they cast like a 5/5 Stone Coil Serpent and then they pay 2 to keep it alive every turn, that could actually beat me. Opponent is sweating me in my draw step here. All right, strip mine. I'm just going to leave that in play. That can destroy their Ancient Tomb basically at will, and then that will destroy everything. I didn't strip the tomb right away because it doesn't matter. Whatever they cast off the tomb, I can just answer with Energy Flux in the future. But if I draw a land, a green land, I want to be able to cast this oof and get this happening. I think I force Golos. Yeah, Golos specifically. Like if Golos gets Caracas and then they can bounce Golos every upkeep instead of paying for him and replay him and eventually get like all their lands into play. I don't like that. So let's draw a green land right now. Got there. All right, they do have set up a lot of mana at this point, though all of their mana is Ancient Tombs. So if they like cast some big creature right now, it would like if they cast Stonecoil Serpent, they'd lose 4 life to do it. Then they'd have to lose 2 life every turn to keep it alive. Crucible's pretty good. Though again, Crucible is going to cost them 2 life every turn to keep around. And my lack of pressure is certainly punishing this game. I'm still ahead, don't get me wrong, but I might not be for long. Like I think they just let the sphere die. I don't think they pay 4 life to keep these things around. They're going to pay 2 to keep the Crucible and get another Ghost Quarter off. Just leave me with no resources. I would love if they paid for the sphere too. Like, yes, please. All right, couldn't talk them into it. Yeah, so now blue card is, assuming they don't cast some unbeatable shit right now, blue card is my best draw. Uh-oh. Do you have Golos, you monster? Yikes. All right, I might end up losing this game. If they get Tolarian Academy, then they have a pain-free source of mana. So at this point, my best draw is a blue card. Like I'm still winning this race against Golos. If they get Caracas to bounce Golos and replay it, then I can force it on the way back down, and they will have taken a ton of damage along the way. So let's just draw a blue card to go with this force. I don't want to lose a shops matchup where I had turn 1 energy flux. Blue card. Okay, that's actually not bad. That can kill Golos. Zero replications. Just the one. Yeah, I care about this threat more than I care about the Crucible. Maybe that's crazy, but like clearly, like they got Caracas. They were setting up a plan to loop this Golos. Let's just let Energy Flux and Ancient Tomb do its job. So importantly, if they play Ghost Quarter and don't use it, then they have 2 pain-free ways to make mana. Though the way they played this game, I suspect they're just going to use it, yeah. Do you have a third Golos? Please don't. All right, a mana negative Mox Emerald. And they could play like a huge Stonecoil Serpent right now. They would have to go to 4 to do that. I guess if they just make it a like 5/5, that's a lot bigger than Oof. All right, this is probably naming Black Lotus, so I can't just jump out from under this real quick. Mox Sapphire, all right. Oh yeah, that is the Mox that's still in my deck. I would have named Black Lotus personally. Blue card. All right, we got a blue card. So now we want them to bleed out to their own Ancient Tombs. Lightning Bolt is a 3 of in my deck, and I have 2 more Volcanic Islands, or 1 more Volcanic Island plus a bunch of fetch lands. So we're drawing to land Lightning Bolt. See how low they want to go also with these Ancient Tombs. Having Force Blue card now. Okay, wow. They're at 4, so if they tap this at all, I force and get in for 2, and then the game is over. So despite the fact that I've cast very few spells this game, Energy Flux has still managed to get us where we need to go. So far, anyway. Yeah, I'm not going to force something like that. They're going to have to pay for that one way or the other. I could preordain. That digs for... Oh, shit. I don't actually want to preordain. Okay, good. I found 2 blue cards. Bottom Brainstorm, top Ponder. I topped the Ponder just because it's blue. I forgot that I was holding Force Blue card for a second there. So do they save Revoker or do they save Crucible? All right, they saved both. They're at 2. They're not going to be able to save both again, especially if they Ghost Quarter me this turn. Though if they Ghost Quarter me this turn, then they won't really need to save both again. Oh shit, they drew Academy. Ooh, that means I didn't get Ghost Quartered though. Stonecoil Serpent. How does this work? Pretty well. Yeah, this is a Force of Will. All right, red land, one-time dealer, off the top. Oh, baby. So... green, red, 1 damage to Phyrexian Revoker, and in for 2. All right. That was crazy. That showcased the power of Energy Flux because I didn't do anything else that game except Energy Flux them. Played a lot of that game with no lands in play. It just didn't matter. Energy Flux too good. So I 4-1'd the league. Again, sorry you only saw 3 of the matches. I wasn't planning on recording this at all, but I lost to Golos Shops in round 1. I beat Hogak, and then you saw the other 3. The match against Golos Shops that I lost felt pretty close. It was definitely winnable. There was 3 turns where I needed to draw a land, and I drew 3 Wrenn and 6s instead, that I couldn't cast. But that happens. That's vintage. A solid 4-1 of the league. Definitely a world where I 5-0. I do like the Shops matchup with this sort of deck. And this is on my short list. I still haven't decided if I'm going to be PO or Xerox. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have another video up where I try Jeskai Xerox or the 4-color Xerox, like one of these other color spreads. But I am a big fan of Rug. I think Wrenn and 6 is totally busto. Thanks for watching. Eternal Weekend is coming. Study up, and I'll see you next time.